JP Morgan is looking really toppy. This one I'm very ready to go short on. I've been waiting for this opportunity. They had a golden cross appear here on the EMA. Let me go put the SMA on here. So the simple moving average is crossed down below the EMA. So a lot of people will be taking this as a sign of a bottom in the market for JP Morgan. Even if it does, it's been pushing straight up since October for 37% gain. And I think it's very, very overextended. You've got continuous lower lows on MACD, big bearish divergence here on the RSI that showed up back here. And the chart's been getting weaker. You had this first bear flag play out. And now it's hovering right at support above the 50-period daily EMA, which has only just crossed the 200. And I find with these, they're slow-moving stocks. But the first cross is usually a fake out. And we're getting a dividend that's going to be showing up here in JP Morgan here in the first week of January. So I'm actually anticipating a gigantic sell-off for JP Morgan going into this later. Part of my reason for thinking this is because there's this playbook that all the big banks have where when they're in a financial bind or recession or financial conditions in the economy get really bad, they raise their dividends in order to attract investors. And then during those highest dividends, they'll start selling portions of their own stock and their own holdings into the market in order to flood themselves with cash and liquid assets, cash equivalent assets like treasuries and things like that. And that's their insulation method to protect themselves against downside risk in the market. They gobble up a whole bunch of what's considered to be safe collateral, and they do it by attracting investors with those higher dividend payouts. But the stock usually tanks very quickly, and we're right at that perfect time where they're due to start doing that. If you look at Bank of America, they already raised their dividend, and you could see they had this very similar chart to what JP Morgan was doing. JP Morgan is about here. And you got all of this move left to go. And I think Bank of America still got much farther down to go. But you notice where where it begins is right here on the dividend date. So JP Morgan's is coming up in the first week of January. We've got a lot of holiday season happening right there. I think JP Morgan is due for a giant sell-off. So going back to JP Morgan, this is where they're currently at. They ripped the farthest, by far, of all the big banks. Out of all the big consumer banks, they did the best. So for me, JP Morgan is a clear short. Putting a stop right there and going straight back down to the low of the market in October. And I believe that there's a possibility JP Morgan could re-enter this regression channel that I created way back in August. Looks like I stopped it right here. If I extend it all the way out, it gets it widens out pretty badly. But we could see this drop back down to the midpoint here in this regression channel. So that kind of lines up exactly with what I'm thinking for a price target, somewhere around the 100, 105 range by the time this thing's done crashing. And interestingly, this is very unlike JP Morgan, but the first 2 quarters of the year did not have good earnings. They came in under expectations 2 times in a row on their EPS. So they've not been making as much, and their expenses have been piling up on them. Morgan Stanley is another one that I would also look to for this. Again, very, very similar chart setup. And you do have this abandoned baby candle right here. A little tiny green candle down by itself. So this could go for a short run for the week before Christmas. And then I'm expecting a big dump afterwards. So once it hits this resistance, just rejects completely and it starts heading back down. Very similar chart to both JP Morgan and Bank of America, and their dividend date has not been declared, but it's likely going to come sometime in late January after the earnings report. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to watch this video. If you enjoyed the content and you found this information helpful to you in your own trading strategies, be sure to leave a like on the video. It helps out the YouTube algorithm and helps us reach out to others who need this information too. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more. And if you're not a member of Hell's Trading Floor already, consider joining our Discord by joining us at hellstradingfloor.com, which will allow you to sign up for our Discord at discord.gg/hellstradingfloor. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, have a hell of a time in the markets.